Ready? Is it noon? Is it high noon? It is. It's high noon. Welcome.
Hi, noon.
No,
Yes, we do.
we do. We do have a t-shirt. I don't know where it is. But welcome. Everyone's asking me questions with the microphone. I'll answer them in the microphone. But welcome to LA2M. I'm Derek Marabon, and most of you know me. Anybody here, first time here, doesn't know me? Okay, well, welcome people. I'm Derek. I run a company called Genix Digital Marketing, and I tend to kick off these events. I'm up here with Stacy Collick from Dollar Bill Printing, their local digital print shop. And we are two board members of LA2M. This is LA2M. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have educational programming every Wednesday at Conor O'Neill's. Thanks for making it here. We bring in talented speakers. People come, they get to listen and learn something. And if you want lunch, it's $10. That goes to Conor O'Neill's. And we also pass the hat. So the way we support ourselves is pass the hat. So technically it's free to come here. You don't even have to have lunch if you want. But if you want to help support us, we suggest putting a few bucks in the basket, which we would really appreciate. And Stacey's going to pass that around. Stacey's our treasurer. Like I said, LA2M, we are a volunteer-driven organization. So we have people like Carter Sherline taking pictures. We have people like Roger Rayle, who video records every of these programs. We all kind of contribute. Ross Johnson's in the back. He designed our website. Emily is tweeting back there. She's a new intern from Michigan State. And then Mary Lou is our one LA2M employee. Mary Lou holds up here. So she does a lot for us as far as keeping everything running smooth, and there's just too much work to do it all volunteer. So Mary Lou, simply. And we do have sponsors. One thing, so this group, we have around, we don't have a membership, but our email goes out to almost 1,800 people in Southeast Michigan. So we have a highly targeted email list. We have a really large LinkedIn group. You can join us on LinkedIn. You can follow along on Twitter. Use the hashtag LA2M if you want to tweet and join the conversation. I know some people always tweet during these programs. We obviously have a Facebook page. You can check in on Foursquare here. So there's lots of ways to interact socially with LA2M. And if you want to be a sponsor, and this month's sponsor is a company called Aqua Channel. Are they here? Aqua Channel's not here. But Aqua Channel is a division of Meadowlark Builders. You may have seen the billboard ad in our email newsletter. It's at the bottom. But the billboard, they do like basement, for wet basements and restoration of foundations and basements to really make them clean and dry. So Arbor Channel for Meadowlark Builders. I encourage you to support them. If they were here, they'd be talking about their business themselves. But they were just, oh, she is here. You want to say a couple words?
It sounds like you were doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being a sponsor. It's very kind of you. If anybody does want to sponsor, like Arbor Channel for Meadowlark Builders, it's only $250 for the month. And they get you distribution in our newsletter, which goes out to, like I said, all of Southeast Michigan, a pretty targeted audience. We actually get a really good open rate. And then you also get to come to the programs and talk about your business. So it's only $250 to sponsor LA2M. So I don't know if anyone has a business where they're looking to generate some business or get exposure. $250, and we're looking for a February sponsor. Anybody immediately want to say they want that? Anybody in the room? Ross Johnson wants it. 3.7 Designs. Thank you. Well, let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand. It's crazy. We're working on this. Mary Lou's working on this. Emily's working. We're going to try and grow LA2M. Right now, we're month to month with sponsorship. So people like Ross, people like Aqua Channel, they step in and they help us because it does take a little bit to keep going, and also the people that throw money in the hat. So thank you. We're going to give a T-shirt to our speaker. It looks a little big, but he can take it. He can give me a night shirt. But these T-shirts were donated by Bank of Arbor. We'll take a quick photo of that. And every week we give our speaker a T-shirt. Yeah, we're at Tibet. It's nice pajamas. High quality cotton LA2M T-shirts. Format of this meeting is our speaker's going to talk for approximately 30 minutes. We may have some time for Q&A. Okay, so if there is time for Q&A, I'll walk around with the mic and Ben will answer your questions. And then at 12:45 we do introductions. So we get to go around the room, everyone can introduce themselves and say what they do. And that's a good way to kind of get to know people. And we always finish about 1 o'clock. All right, any questions before we start? Anybody have a quick announcement? Anything I missed? All right, good. So today's speaker, a man by the name of Ben Bator, and he's from a company called Text from Last Night, which, how many of you have heard of Text from Last Night? Okay, great. It's a really cool startup that started, I'd love to hear the story, maybe Ben will tell the story, but I actually knew Ben because his brother Phil was in my class at MSU. And these guys came out of MSU, did some great things. And now Ben has been a real catalyst in the city of Detroit, doing cool projects, helping brands, helping really put our state and our city on the map. So really great guy to know. Interesting speaker. He's going to be talking about something about brands, right? Touching brands. I always forget the topics. But anyways, Ben Bator is here live, so let's give him a big round of applause and welcome Ben to LA2M.
Let's hope this one still works here. One little password. Hi, so I'm Derek. You did a great job. And first of all, thank you for having me. These are always really fun, and I love any chance to talk about. Oh, hold on. I love any chance to prove how bad I am at computers, and hopefully, why does that keep going away? Oh, there we go. Nope. Anyway, so this is a really good example of how...
Is your display mirrored?
No, it was making it really strange. Let's see if I can just get this here. Yes. That's how you use a computer, guys. All right, so anyway. So my name is Ben Bator. I am an entrepreneur from Detroit. I had the great fortune of graduating from college in 2008, which I took as needing to basically go out and make my own projects rather than get one more email telling me I wasn't cut out for a free internship. So this is a little bit of the story of the projects I've worked on, but a lot more about the reasoning behind why I did the projects that I'm currently doing and why I think that they're important and why there's a little bit more to them than might meet the eye, at least at first. But they're all fun in their own right, so we might as well go and do a little bit of detail. So the title of the talk really is more, where did all the fun people go? And as you can see, a lot of the thought is a lot of the fun people are now just checking their phones and kind of lost on this screen. And one of the things that we hear from brands and hear from marketers is like, how do we pull people out of this, this kind of position? Like, how do we get people out of that? How do we interject ourselves onto that screen? How do we make ourselves part of this kind of passive activity that people are already doing? And my thought is that we shouldn't worry about that so much, and instead we can use the tools that we have in order to enable those people, the former fun people, to use this tool that's already in their hand to create more than just consume. So I'll talk a little bit about this, tell you a few things that I do know, and probably, well, hopefully I'll either run out of things and you'll think there's more, or I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So, rewind to 2008, graduated college, couldn't really find a way to make it in the marketing ad world, and I decided after 45 minutes of really hard thought, the smartest thing that I could do would be to go to law school. And the most honorable, because I looked around and all my friends that were much older than me, that were attorneys, were respected. They made great money. They took care of their families. My dad was a lawyer, and I thought, worst case scenario, I'll just beg him for a job. And surprisingly, no one, it might have been because of that, but no one was more critical of me going to law school than my own father. And he was just saying, what are you thinking? You shouldn't do this. You should look at other options. And so I did. I ended up getting into Wayne State Law School with a scholarship, which meant that against all odds, I had free time again to figure out what else there was that was out there. And I didn't really have to worry about some of my first bills while going to law school. And so I looked around at all my friends that didn't go the same route and were moved out of Michigan, because in Detroit was a very different time. It was a very different time in Detroit at the end of 2008. The Time magazine piece that profiled kind of the prolific downfall of Detroit as a whole had just come out. So people weren't even really feeling sorry for us yet. They didn't really know how bad it was, or even the inkling of opportunity that was to come. So a lot of our friends moved away, and they were having a great deal of fun in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, and so on. And Lauren, my friend, and I realized that we were kind of missing out on a lot of this fun. there's a picture that was supposed to be of wine. It was a big wine bottle, and it was a nice caption of, don't let this, don't drink this and use it as an excuse to text your ex-girlfriend and beg for forgiveness. Some very fine grapes died for this wine, treat them with some respect. But I don't know, for some reason my PDF didn't like that one very much. And so we started thinking, well, all of our friends like going out. People have loved drinking since, I don't know when this painting was done, but you can tell these activities really haven't changed that much in terms of, this could be Rick's, either U of M Rick's or East Lansing Rick's. And we thought, all these people are having fun, but now we have this device that's always in our hands, and we can talk to anyone, we can kind of make an ass of ourselves at any point in time, and then not only that, the person on the receiving end of that display of, I don't know what you want to call that type of decision making, they have a tool that can spread that around to many more people in a way that is really interesting to us. So we started a blog called Text from Last Night. We would basically go through every text we would get and wake up to from our friends that were having way more fun than us in other cities, and we would put them on the blog with just their area code, which basically is the most anonymous way of identifying different text messages when it's in a blog platform or format. And it's funny because area codes became a big deal to us, mainly because those three little numbers have some significance, but for the most part it was wherever you happened to be when you got your first cell phone. So nostalgia played a tiny role. And so at this time the internet was a really different place. Like same with Detroit, the internet was also very different. I mean, MySpace was still a thing. People were still kind of holding on, being like, no. We could sign up for Facebook starting in 2006 in terms of everyone, even including our parents. But it was still new. The news feed was just pushed to all users as the mandatory option, or the mandatory, not the option. And I don't know if you remember, but there were groups that were like, repeal the news feed is terrible. Now, I mean, the news feed is everything. So it was a very different time, and we knew that if we were able to take text messages from our friends that were funny and put them on Facebook and Twitter and so on, some good things might happen. And it says no skinny dipping alone. We didn't want to be left alone. We felt like we were the ones not getting invited to skinny dip. And so we decided that we would make fun of them, the people that were having more fun than us, and also it would be a way to kind of, for us to have fun and kind of join in this kind of larger, debaucherous, I guess, community of all of our friends from college. And what was so interesting about this, and we didn't even realize it at first, was that this was the first time, except maybe for what's going on here in terms of Obama reading your email, but this was the first time when private conversations were made public in a way that wasn't a scandal. And this was kind of a big deal. I mean, every time you go and update Twitter, this was something you wanted the world to see. If you were a private account, maybe not so much, but you should know not to send picture messages of your junk over direct message by now. And this was the only time where we were taking things from a private conversations and making them public without it being a scandal. And this, mind you, was right after Kwame Kilpatrick, and we almost just published all of his texts and just called it a day and went back to studying. And so this is a big book of online memes. You can't really, it's going to cut off at the top, but this kind of made it more than a meme for us. There were some great things that came after Text from Last Night, and Text from has been adopted all over the place. From my favorite, Text from Hillary, we all had the same job, and then it's, I think at the bottom it's like, LOL, bitch, please. But from Text from Hillary, Text from Dog, Text from Bennett, Text from has been adapted, across the internet in terms of a meme, but also From Last Night has been its own generator of memes. And one thing we realized early on was we had a very easy task. We just had to put these out in the world. We still were fulfilling our mission of making these private conversations public that people would laugh at. And we just needed to kind of give up the rest of the idea because we weren't going to do Text from Hillary, we weren't going to do Text from Bennett. And by doing this, we were able to kind of co-opt this new model. of seeking unauthorized reproduction in order to further, take what we liked, make a community around it, and then allow that community to create a much more robust and fulfilled meme, I guess. Or, I guess, take that idea to the nines and see how far they could actually push it. And this went really well for us, and we were very excited because, a lot of the times when you do these things, they're quick and then they die. But we were able to be that lasting force because we were not only first, but we had a bit of a different mission besides just being the quick meme that would be on, on Reddit or 4chan and so on. And because of that, we just kind of adopted this, whatever. Let people do what they're going to do with the content that we have and also with the idea. And we're just going to keep fulfilling this and keep going through our text to make sure that they are funny, relevant, and not necessarily chasing a trend, but still continuing on this conversation that is fascinating and differentiated from everything else that was being recreated. And a lot of that comes down to the fact that, as Derek mentioned, my younger brother became our editor when he was still in college, and he was directly in our target demographic. He would come home from Rick's at 2 in the morning, and he would go through the text messages that people were already submitting in real time and picking out the 20 to 30 texts that would go up the next morning on the site. So we had a very, very strong brand from a market research standpoint, because Philip was really doing a lot of market research and doing a great job. And so, beyond the flattery, you do get your fair share of haters, and we just kind of took the same thought of whatever. People are going to not necessarily love everything that we're doing, and we never really let it change us. We always stayed true to the private conversations and trying to find things that were funny, different, and not necessarily rehashing the same thing over and over. And I think that's what gave us staying power, because we'll turn 5 in February. And while a lot of people have gone to the site, binged on it to a certain extent and then moved on, we still are putting out page day calendars. We're still working with producers in Los Angeles to hopefully at some point, somewhere in the future, do a television show. And every day there are thousands and thousands of people who find the site either on Twitter, on Facebook, and decide that today is the day where they're going to get to the end of text from last night. And now there's close to 40,000 messages on the site. So it'll take a couple days, maybe less than that. I think most tweens read that in about a week. So now we're thinking everything is going fine, and this is great. And it really was okay. Texting last night was wonderful, and it was a great first start into kind of this idea that we can give a tool to a large group of people, and we're going to allow them to tell their story. And their story is anonymous. It's not necessarily theirs after a certain point, but it's out there. And taking this new technology and not necessarily trying to stick our foot in, not trying to interrupt, but to become a part of what in this case is going out, having fun with your friends, and then sharing those experiences with them. You now have a lot larger audience, and all we did was just find a way to amplify the message. But what we thought next, and the way we kind of decided to keep that going, and when my brother and I started to look at other things that we could possibly do, we were flummoxed, because it's not like you can really revolutionize text from last night to a certain point. Instead, it's almost something that we would love to have our tweets in the Library of Congress and just to keep going with that. So we started looking for other opportunities and other things we could do. And with the emergence of how great phones are now, or phones and camera phones are, we decided to go a little bit of a different route. So everyone wants your Instagram to look like this, and you kind of want to make this look very cool, like yes, you're mysterious on a payphone in the desert on a road trip. Looks really great. I'm intrigued. And oh my God, you're driving an original 911 down a country road. That looks amazing. We should do a road trip. And after a friend of mine went on a really great date from starting at Zingerman's and ending in Petoskey, we realized that there was a ton of Michigan that we haven't seen. And well, we should try to, we don't have girls to date. we should just do this with all of our friends. And so, this was the dream, and it quickly gets kind of derailed in terms of, this is a great idea, and now let's think, all right, yeah, we'll get the old Porsche, we'll get cowboy hats, and we'll find payphones, and let's make this look really cool. And then kind of all hell broke loose in our heads. Like, well, it's not going to work. I don't know anyone with an old 911 that'll give one to me. I don't really know where payphones are in this way. I'm not a cowboy. It took me like 2 months to grow this beard. And then we were worried that someone would expose us. Someone on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram that acts like they're about that life, and you want to expose them, like Lori's going to call you, and that's not good. And because being authentic on all these things, just because you have this platform that now is personal, you don't have the anonymity of just the 3 numbers where you happen to get a cell phone your first time. You have to make sure that these communications are authentic and that people can relate to them. So. It says this only happens in the movie. I don't know. Woody Allen's telling us that we can't live our dreams. Sorry. So anyway, we get to the point where we realized that we just had to do something, or we were going to just let this idea die, and it wasn't going to go anywhere. So my friend Matt Farrell, who works at Google down the street, and I decided that we were going to take that date that I crashed their dinner, and we were going to turn this into a road rally that celebrated more than just sitting in traffic on Woodward, and really celebrated driving and the experience that comes along with exploring a great state like Michigan. And we knew that we could do something where it wasn't too overbearing in terms of, you must stop and take a picture here. This is a scavenger hunt with, very specific guidelines. Instead, we gave people checkpoints, we told them where they needed to go, and the rest was kind of up to them. And the thinking behind this was, we can have a little bit of play here, and there's all this room for people to take their imaginations and let them run wild. And we already know that sitting in your back pocket is a tool that can broadcast not only your location, but take pictures, take video, and communicate with all of your friends in your larger network. And all we really needed to do was focus on finding a community of people that we could curate that would essentially make that next step that much bigger. And in a generation that for the most part won't answer their phones, and it's really difficult to find a way into their normal daily habits of staring at the phone, wondering, as you're wondering where all the fun people went, we thought that there was something to be said for taking that to an extreme where we didn't have any hashtags, we didn't really tell them what to do, but we just gave them a little bit of guidelines to just enjoy. Below, I guess, it says 1 minute, don't read, don't talk, no photos, just look and see. And it's something where you can take all of this in and you can start to live again without necessarily recording, and then using your phone when it's necessary in order to convey where you are, what you're doing, and how this certain moment is impacting your life on the greater community that you've curated over time. And there was a quote from George Clooney was with President Obama, and he, I'm paraphrasing, but he was basically saying that people are so busy recording that they're not living. And he said this after everyone was asking if they could take selfies with them instead of asking, just going up for handshakes. So instead, they'd go out and hand open, kids are just like this. And there's kind of this lost moment where, yes, you want to record that, you want to show that you were there, but in a lot of the places that we went on the Melee, there was no cell phone service. And there were points where you just needed to, kind of disconnect, step back. You could use your phone basically on airplane mode, and you could record some of it, but for the most part, you're thinking about how that is going to look in 5 years or a little bit longer. You're not looking for the immediate, I was here right now, and this is what's happening. Deal with it. Instead, you're kind of taking that 1 minute to take everything in, consider it, and then display it. And so this is what happened. We had 35 people this year came on the road rally. We drove 1,000 miles around Michigan. We had sponsorship from General Motors where they gave us 15 cars to take. We went all over the state. We started in Detroit, went to Saugatuck, went up to the Leelanau Peninsula, went into the UP, then back down through the Gaylord area in Huron National Forest, and then down the East Coast. We saw 2.5 Great Lakes. Some people saw Superior. Not everyone was adventurous. And ended back in Detroit in 3 days after 1,000 miles. And the whole point of this was, Pure Michigan, General Motors, road trippers, and Opportunity Detroit didn't necessarily need to be plastered all over the cars. They didn't have to be, we didn't all have T-shirts. But instead what was happening was they were co-opting and allowing this experience to happen where our group of friends who we invited from Los Angeles, London, New York, San Francisco, and Chicago, they were all able to experience the state because the company made it possible. And because the brand decided that they wanted to be involved with something that could produce content for them, but more so than that, could affect a group of people that have their own audience and want to frame their story in a way that, that brand helped make this happen. And because of that, it's a more natural experience and it's a more natural relationship with the brand, with the experience itself, and with the content coming away from there. So we gave 25 disposable cameras to everyone to really kind of hammer home the point that, everything that was happening right there wasn't the best part, and to experience everything, take photos, and then kind of let yourself just enjoy as you're going along. And we came out with, the photo up to the top left is from one of the disposable cameras, and the others were all from camera phones, and a few went on Instagram, but almost no Instagrams went up at that point. It was all later on, because people were able to think a little bit more about how those experiences kind of came together, and they were able to share them later in a way that wasn't real time, but it was thought out a bit more. And it was on the second day of the trip that I realized this is a lot of the same things that we were doing with Text from Last Night. And what I mean by that is a lot of people assume Text from Last Night are all from last night. They're actually from about 2 days ago. What happens is they're sent to our server. My brother will go through thousands of them every day, and then he'll choose 20 to 30 that will go live on the site the following morning. And that pause and that takeaway from the initial moment where everything happened allows two things to happen. In the example of Text from Last Night, we're able to take away all context and strip away all the meaning from it. So it doesn't matter if that text was funny to just you and your friend John, it's funny to everyone. And in the case of the Melee, you're thinking about which experience of those 200 photos that you took that day means the most to you. And so by allowing people to pause, allowing people not only to go on these experiences, but allowing them to pause and reflect a little bit, it's better than forcing in real time and just saying, I'm here, this is what's happening, and you guys should all care about it. Instead, we were helping, in both cases, the people that are sharing to share more thoughtfully and to share things that mean more both to them and to their audience. And our community, that was our mission to our community, was just to make sure that as we gave them experiences, they were able to convey them in a way that would do better among their audience. Because we have more than just our initial audience to consider now. So some other companies that do this really well, and some other things that I think that are great examples. The Warby Parker class trip is an excellent example. And Warby Parker is a great company that's a social entrepreneurship, basically a case study gone very right. Two friends started this out of Harvard Business School, and they do glasses that are very affordable, and then they give eye examinations and optical support to underprivileged children in areas, I think, all over the world. But their class trip was a way that people could interact with Warby Parker, which is a digital company first, in a very tactile and in a deep way, where they were driving a school bus, which was their showroom around the country over the summer, and they would allow you to go on the school bus, try on all of their glasses. They had books in there, you could hang out, you could read. They would most likely set up for multiple weeks. You could go there, try on glasses, go to your optometrist, get your new script, and go back to them and take your glasses home. And what they did by bringing this experience on was, at the end, you're leaving the bus, they're taking your picture. or you're on the bus in itself and it's cool. I mean, who would expect a school bus to look like an old library that was also a collection of some of the coolest glasses frames that you've ever seen? And who thought you would say like the coolest glasses frames you would ever see? So by taking something that is inherently digital, making it real, driving to your neighborhood and showing you the things that you could find online, but now you have a tactile response to, and you have the memory of doing this, it's so much more powerful, and it allows people that have phones and that have the ability to share these things to their community and their own audience. It gives them something to use their phones for, to use their cameras for, and to use the networks that they've been acquiring and the people that they've met along the way. And they're sharing the Warby Parker story, but they're making it personal. Next is Foster Huntington is a gentleman who was an executive at Ralph Lauren and quit his job in order to buy this van, the white truck in the picture, and he's been surfing for 2 years. And at first it just sounds like a normal story of someone just kind of like escaping and going off the grid and deciding that was it. But instead of searching around for the next trend at Ralph Lauren, he decided that he was going to kind of chase his own trends and kind of start his own movements. And so he first bought a Volkswagen Synchro van and started a Tumblr called Van Life, which is now a photo book. Before that, he asked, as he was preparing for the trip, he asked people for what they would grab from their house if their house was burning down. And he called it a burning house. People would take photos of their prized possessions, often their kids and their pets, which is probably a good sign, of what you would grab if your house was burning. And he turned that into a book as well. And what he ended up doing with user-generated content, but he gave them a framework of really think about what you would grab if your house was burning. Or if you see a van on the street, take a photo of it, put it on Instagram, hashtag van life, and then think about how what you would do if you had that. So it's not only the direction of giving people something to look for. It's not necessarily a scavenger hunt, but it's deeper than that, where you're allowing people to reflect on what they would do and how this particular social question relates to them, and then allowing them to share it to their followers, their audience, in a way that makes them start to care. And this, I think, is a much more natural way to have viral lift and to create an audience and a community that will continue to grow your brand. He currently has, I think, 750,000 Instagram followers, and he was relatively unknown before this. So you can quit your job and things can end up all right, I guess. Yeah. And he makes a living on this to this day. He'll do partnerships with brands. He's done things with Vans, LL Bean, Patagonia, and some surf companies as well. So this is where the fun people win. They're out there, and they look a lot like this. They're all looking at their phones, and there are ways to give them opportunities to use those things in order to expand upon everything that you'd like to do. You just have to give them the right experiences and put them in the right place to use these tools that they're looking at all the time, and for their own good and for your own good, and to kind of co-opt their sort of addiction, I guess. I have one. I keep looking at my phone because it's buzzing. For even better, and I guess to allow them to use their phones better, and to allow you to spread the word of whatever it is that you're looking to share, whether it's a company, whether it's a personal blog, whether it's really anything. It just matters in how you frame it. So giving people experiences in order to share with their larger audience. So the kind of takeaways from this are, first of all, thinking is never really great. You can overthink things pretty quickly. I'm a fan of the minimum viable product and kind of the do mentality. If you're putting things out there, you're going to get feedback quicker, and if you can rush to break things, more often than not, you'll find ways to fix them. It's not true in everything. Maybe biotech, don't do that. But for the most part, and at least in the social or most internet ways, do first, you'll find a way. Second is if you have to ask people to please share and to please, tell their friends, they're not going to do it. It's really up to us to not do the asking, but to create a path for people to be able to do it on their own and to empower them to want to share it to their audiences. Your audience really is your community. You have to make them feel good about being part of that community so that they want to share that with their audience to bring them into this larger community. It's not necessarily a, well, you're here, you're within our Facebook fan page, please share this to your friends because you're here already. You have to give them a path and a reason and to make it so they have, they're empowered to do that. Everyone's going to do it differently. Some people are going to do it better, but for the most part, if you feel strongly about the path that you're on or the path that you're pushing people towards, ignore the grass on the other side, or better yet, convince people that brown grass is really cool right now. And finally, and the other thing is, all you have is now. I mean, everything that people did before, everything that people could do in the future, it's kind of just meaningless to worry about it. We have one of our interns is having a panic attack right now because Facebook changed their algorithms and they're not sharing they're not, I guess, weighing photo posts nearly as much as they used to. Now, as you know, based on your stream and by your news feed, basically everything is BuzzFeed upworthy and other links and stories that Facebook is now highlighting because they are looking at original content. This is an even bigger push to have empowering people to create their own content or creating more long-form stories. But more often than not, you can't worry about what they've done in the past. You can't lament the fact that they're not pushing photos anymore, and you don't know what they're going to do in the future. All you can really do now is hope that you have a couple good listicles handy that you can push out in order to best grasp that. And 5 is C number 1. Do. Just start it, put it out there, and more often than not, you'll find a way. And if not, then you'll know it's not the right time, or you can always come back to it later. But the important part is that it's out there. Lauren and I almost didn't push Text from Last Night live because we thought there were 2 other things that were more interesting. And if we didn't, then, well, I might still be sleeping. So thanks for having me. I hope some of this was fairly fascinating. I know I went a little over time, but hopefully there's time for some questions. But I kind of hogged the introduction, so I'm interested to hear all of yours, and thanks again for having me.
So who has a question for Ben? We do have a few minutes for questions. Hey Ben, thanks for the presentation. Quick question for you on if brand awareness is maybe the goal, does the brand awareness from these experiences happen organically, or is there a conscious effort through experiences for brand awareness?
That is me, isn't it?
Did you turn yours off by
I'm going to
accident?
turn it off.
No, turn it on, not off.
Oh, it's on.
That's the off noise.
Oh, let's move it.
Is that better?
I don't know, it might be.
Oh, it's good, it's good.
It's good? Okay. I'll just put it here. Sorry about that. So if brand awareness is the goal, and I mean, for a lot of these, you can see the brand that's interjected at different points of the experience, but not necessarily in what's being shared. So I guess, for example, in the Amelia Minton example, the cars are what's taking us to these places, and General Motors is giving us 10 to 15 different cars and different models to explore the state of Michigan. And the state of Michigan is helping us in a social capacity to retweet everything. But the cars are there. You're seeing some of it in some of the posts, and I guess you're seeing it afterwards in terms of if we are writing articles or writing thank yous. But for the most part, it's very subtle. And I think that what happens is in terms of if I posted pictures at the auto show of every car there, I don't think that people that follow me would be very into that. I don't think people would like that very much. But if I were to take a bunch of photos of where those cars were taking me or some of the details of one of them, it's more interesting to the people that follow me, and I know that more than I know that they would appreciate I guess GM being front and center. So we didn't really push people to do this because we knew they were going to, but we made sure that if there was some big push for brand awareness, we were able to take something like, at the time we were using Inc. 361 that would create collages out of all of the photos that we had from Instagram, and then from there we could just retroactively hashtag them with Chevy Life, or somehow blasting all those out in terms of these are all these photos would have this hashtag or this affiliation with the brand. But it's not as I guess it's not as literal. It's not just taking the picture of the car, and we just want to get away from that into allowing the brand to be part of the larger experience. I think that's where we've kind of pushed things, at least in the Miele example.
Right. Who else has a question?
Well, your point number 2, if you have to ask, don't do it. I'm thinking you had to ask pretty hard to get General Motors and Pure Michigan as sponsors. How did you go about that? It sounds pretty audacious for a small company.
Well, thank you, first of all. I wish I could say it was a much larger undertaking or as audacious, but I actually invited a few of my friends that I went to college with who were lucky enough to get jobs at General Motors, first of all, to see if they were interested in coming and bringing their own cars. And something I learned quickly about people who work in, or at least my friends that worked in automotive, was they didn't really get into it because they wanted to drive their own cars. So they offered to get us press cars or manufacturer vehicles. And from there, once we kind of expanded on what we wanted to do, we were able to get meetings at General Motors fairly quickly. And I think it was really just because we went in there with a decent pitch, and we had, I guess, some idea of what we were doing, but I think they realized that they could kind of help us in a lot of ways, and we could kind of co-opt the experience to make it the best for both of us. And then in terms of Pure Michigan, they just saw the photos from the first Miele that we did, and kind of the direction we took with that, and they wanted to get involved. So this year we had a blog show up on the Pure Michigan site, and then we're also working, once our video is done with editing, it'll be on Jalopnik, GQ, and a few other websites that are all friends of people that either came on Miele because we invited them, or people that, because they couldn't come, they were interested in getting involved after the fact digitally, and then next year they'll hopefully be able to join us on the road.
Well, that's great. Who else has a question? Question?
Going back to the Miele there, when you're working with a company like General Motors, did they give you stipulations? Did they send along a writer or a photographer on the ride with you?
We were definitely open to that. We actually asked for it, and both times they were like, oh, you guys are going to do fine. We brought a production company called The Work out of Detroit on the first one. This past year we had a few different friends of ours who were bloggers. One was from Ill Roots, which is a music website focused more on hip hop. Another was the editor of Curve Detroit, Sarah Cox, and then a few other freelancers that have written a few different things. And they had cameras, and they were documenting it for themselves. And I was really surprised that they didn't, that General Motors and Chevy kind of let us just have that kind of creative control over the content that we were producing. But I think the other part is, Michigan kind of lends itself more to, it's much more interesting to share a picture at Pyramid Point than it is to share pictures at like the bar later. So I think they knew that we were going to, they knew that we were, and trusted us, that we were going to share things appropriately, but also, the state was going to kind of take care of a lot of the heavy lifting. And thankfully, we've had 2 years of incredible weather, and it really hasn't disappointed. I should really knock on wood. Thank God there's plenty of it.
Do you think companies like that now are seeing this type of way of not pushing themselves, but just letting things happen instead of going the hard marketing route?
I think so, but I also think that it's a little more nuanced in the fact that there are so many channels that they are able to push very heavy in certain channels. We're not going to be doing a 30-second TV spot, or we're not going to be doing pre-roll ads on YouTube. They can still produce that and do the hard sell and kind of encapsulate those messages in that way. And it also gives us the freedom to take these cars and to take these experiences and package them in ways that we see fit. So I think it's something where we both kind of see an opportunity to use very different channels to our own advantages, and I think that they're smart in seeing that it's possible and that they're able to be hands-off, and it gives them a little bit more breathing room. I guess after the second one I would say they have breathing room, but after the first one we did kind of park a car on a rock the first time, so after we got through that, we had a little bit more, we called them right away, but yeah, I mean, after they kind of trusted a little bit more that we were going to wreck all the cars, it got a lot easier, and I think they trusted us in terms of content as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else questions? I have a question. Is that called experience marketing? Like, what do this Catholic League Champions, right? So this is, you and your brother started an agency, you're doing this kind of work. What do you call it? I know you defined it, but is there a name for it?
It's difficult because a lot of the times when we're going into these types of meetings, we have a really fleshed out idea of what we'd like to do, and I think at its core it's experiential, but without all the other things in play, without everything else kind of in place, and a strategy for social, a strategy for production, and a media strategy in terms of who's going to be writing about it and producing some of the longer form stuff, I don't think that the experiential on its own is sufficient. But if you get the right group of people, it can be. I know it's kind of a double answer, but for us, we made sure we had different media people. We have different different friends that were interested in sharing it in their own ways. And it was the same protection last night. I mean, a lot of the people that we were attracting earlier, sending emails to, were writers at Gawker, who we thought would really respond to kind of the scandalous drunk text messages that we were sending out. We were kind of going after the people that we wanted in our audience and in our community that we knew would kind of convey that experience to a larger audience. So I think that experience is at the core, but to have the strategy, which includes getting that community together, is really important. So as soon as I find out a name, I'll make a nice little blog post about it or something.
All right, very good. Well, let's give Ben Bator a big round of applause. Thank you for being here. And so now we'll do introductions. So we'll go around the room, and you can give us your name, rank, and serial number. Stand up, tell us who you are, what you do, and if you're looking for something real quick, and then we'll get all the way around the room in 15 minutes. And we're going to start right at the front. And there you go.
Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey Trayview. I'm a graphic designer / mobile designer / whatever type of designer I need to be for a startup company called Quantify. And we're based in Ann Arbor and Birmingham. And yeah, just wanted to check it out today.
Hello, my name is Trish Stuckey. I am a ballroom dance professional and also work in network marketing for a company called Your Health. And basically, what I like, or the reason I like to do these things, is because I want to bring happiness to people's life so they can take control of their health, be more aware of their bodies, and teach them to dance, bring people together, and have fun. Real quick, I'm hosting a wedding workshop, which is a crash course for anyone that's attending a wedding, in a wedding, bride and groom, and that's February 7th. So if you're interested, see me after, and I have some handouts. Thanks.
Okay, so my name is Leslie McGraw, and I'm with Let's Go Social Media Marketing and Training. And I enjoyed your presentation. I'm a life caster, so I am. And so anyways, I'm right now spending January and February helping returning clients and new clients freshen up their marketing presence online for the new year. And on January 28th at 10 a.m., I'm hosting a blogging workshop. You can find more on my website at letsgoforit.com.
Hi, Shannon Robert, B54847. Oops. I'm Bob Shannon. I'm a CPA in the Ann Arbor area, specializing in helping small clients, growing clients, with their tax and accounting problems. And of course, I'm just about to go deep into the heart of taxes.
And isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Steve Byer, Decisive Web. I think I'm a private, but I'm the only one, so I'm not certain. The thing that came to my mind with your talk is that you might try film instead of using digital, because there is no instantaneous, and you really never know what you have. So it's kind of a surprise at the end. You might try a trip with using just film.
Yeah, that's actually something that we've thought about too. We got the 25 disposables, we just call them magic boxes. Yeah. And you can get a lot of, I mean, Fuji has amazing, I mean, it's really mind-blowing when you see the film that comes in, once they're processed, all the photos that come out, because like Instagram doesn't have filters like that. Like you see different, depth of field and color that you just don't get digitally, and it's awesome. So yeah, no, thank you. And we're definitely looking at doing something that's all filmed.
It's harder to throw out the bad ones too, but sometimes those turn out to be the best thing.
Yeah, there's a quality that's just endearing. Even the ones you mess up on or don't have properly exposed, there's always something to them that's just special that you don't get otherwise. So yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Farine. Thank you for your talk. It was really enlightening to see that and to kind of look at different ways of marketing and just enjoying being with other people. I'm a commercial and advertising photographer.
Hi, I'm Jamie from the Long Green Group. I'm a marketing coordinator there, and I also really enjoyed your talk. Thank you very much for coming. If I buy a film camera, it's because of you. But I also enjoyed the delay of posting, not posting right away. That really struck a chord with me. Next week, Tuesday evening between 4 and 6 p.m., we're offering our very first hub group meetup, and that's a HubSpot user group. So anybody who uses HubSpot or wants to learn more about inbound marketing, please come see me afterwards. That'd be awesome. I'll be there, and I'll have snacks from Morgan, New York. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Greg Bentel. I'm an adjunct instructor at Spring Arbor University, and I also recruit MBA students. We have locations all around the state, and particularly we have a really good growth in our online MBA. It's very flexible, very affordable, and if you or someone you know is looking for a good MBA experience, come see me after this meeting.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany Morris. I'm team coordinator at Protean. We're a tech startup based out of Carytown. Right now we're building the Echo Card. It's a competitor to Coin, if you've heard of Coin. So we're the local one-up on that. So we're building a card that combines all of your forms of payment and anything with a magnetic stripe into one credit card. And you'll be able to choose what type of credit card you want to use using a Bluetooth signal from your mobile app. So it's really cool. Right now we're looking for a marketing manager. So if you're interested in brand identity and have experience on the consumer and agency side, come see me. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jim Musial, and I am a consultant in web and mobile development. And if you need help with either of those, I would love to talk to you. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stacy from Dollarville, your local digital print shop, as Derek said earlier. I am also on the board of the Power of the Purse, if any of you women have heard of that. It's a big event that United Way puts on, and we auction off purses, and you get yummy food, and there's a raffle, and Zingerman's brings in cupcakes. It's in March, so watch. They're just starting to do all the advertising for that. Get your ticket and help out. The money goes to helping women in Washtenaw County.
Hi, I'm Becky Buchanan. I would call myself an active seeker, which really means I'm recently unemployed and looking to events like this to branch out more.
I'm Christy King, and thank you, because now I really want a road trip, really bad. I recently left the business school after 17 years to start my own photography company, and I have a social media and marketing company called Design Junkie, which I do freelance for small businesses locally for fun. So.
I'm Jessica Lito. I work with Aqua Channel, which is a basement waterproofing and site water management company. It's new. We work with a company in Detroit that's recently developed a new technology to help with
flooded areas and basements that are wet and things like that. I'm also the marketing director for Meadowlark Builders, and across the two companies we're experimenting this year with more word-of-mouth marketing and sort of being a part of a conversation and an experience rather than trying to force messages down people's throats. So it's going to be an interesting year, and I really appreciated a lot of the points that you made.
I'm Ben Roberts. I'm a management consultant, and I help businesses and entrepreneurs, mostly focused in information technology and operations.
Hi, I'm Dean Karamanis, invited here by Ben. I'm an architect, a real kind of architect that designs buildings, not software. I've owned my own architecture firm since about 1993, and I had an office in Ann Arbor for 15 years and recently moved it to Northville. So it's great to be back in Ann Arbor and see a lot of startups again.
I'm Tony Menhart. I make the bright gold bags of bread and pizza mix. When it's 20 below, you don't want to go out for some food. It's nice to have one on your shelf. So check out the Whole Foods or Sparrow or by the pound and grab one. Make some good food.
Hi, my name is Jordan Beecham. I work for Dexter Builders, and we're a full-service building company and specialize in additions and remodels.
Hello, Amy Grambo, Director at Orange Ag Advertising. We're a full-service ad agency and located in Ann Arbor.
Hi, I'm Emily Prague. I'm a student at Michigan State. I think the mic is on a... Isn't it? Oh, okay. I'm a student at Michigan State, and I'm going into advertising with a concentration in media and management, a specialization in sales, and a specialization in public relations. So, senior year.
Hi, my name is Yan Chu. You can call me Yan. I'm currently an intern at Ingenix. I am a sophomore at U of M. I don't exactly know what I want to do in my future, but I want to one day create an organization, or at least work for one, that would market socially innovative ideas on a global scale. This passion stems from my involvement in like a club organization on campus, and it's called Optimize. And what it does is it provides workshops and funding for anyone with any socially innovative ideas.
Well, it's hard to pass or be after that. Great presentation, Ben. My name is Steve Williamson. I love your definition. Recently released from a company. I've been involved with senior living services or the senior living industry for over 14 years. As a transplant from the hospitality industry, I'm working with my brother to actually start a retail mall setting for retail for senior services. And again, fantastic. The concept's called Village Crossroads, so a lot of great information.
Hello, my name is Samantha. I work with Farm Bureau Insurance. I specialize in small business, mortgage protection plans, and workers' comp.
Hi, I'm Greg Wilson. I'm a new professional in digital marketing and public relations. I graduated last May with a degree in PR from Northern. I'm working right now with a sort of experiential adventure race series that's going to be in 20 cities. They're called Experience Adventures, and always looking for something else to do. All right.
I'm Roger Rayle. I'm a venture catalyst in my extended transition. I remind everybody who wants to be plugged into the entrepreneurial scene of Michigan to sign up and go to ACE 14. There are cards out. Do we have any cards left? Do they all? Yeah, well, there's some more cards. It's January 30th, Thursday, from 2 to 8 p.m. About 1,000 entrepreneurs, investors, service providers, and it's $25, but you get $25 worth of food, plus all the networking and knowledge you get from
There's
that.
tables until the 20th.
Yeah, if you want to sign up to be an exhibit table, then it's more than that, but you have to sign up by the 20th. And I'll be coordinating the video again this year for all that.
Hi, I'm Jim Campbell from excitingproductions.com, and just looking for anybody that needs help with a web video or covering a special event. Check us out online at excitingproductions.com.
And Jim's videos are up on the ACE website.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is John Wright. I'm a web design and developer for Ingenix Digital Marketing.
Finishing off the Ingenix team, I'm Ashley. I'm the content manager.
And also a text from last night, Junkie. So I appreciate your talk a lot, and the Melee seems awesome. How do you get involved?
If you're interested in getting involved in Melee Mitten, check out it's meleemitten.com. We post all of the upcoming info about the route and also when the event will be held. And it's we always publish the route ahead of time, and also we'll announce like where we're going on that. So even if for whatever reason you can't go on the whole thing, or if without like out of the main pack or whatever, you can always come along for other. I mean, they're open roads.
Very cool. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou. I'm manager of LA2M, and thanks everyone for coming. I'm really glad to see all you turn out today. And thank you once again to our sponsor. So, another great talk as we always do. Thanks, Ben. That was very informative. And I'm also a freelance writer, so if any of you are looking for someone to fill that role in your company, I'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Hi, I'm Carter Schilling from Print Studios. I'm a commercial editorial and portrait photographer, which covers just almost everything, photographic, executive portraits, products, events. And the images I shoot here will go on my Brick's Facebook page.
All right, those were some meaty introductions. That was good. I like that. It's one. But great talk today. Yeah, I'm Derek Marabon, Ingenix Digital Marketing. You met some of our wonderful team and interns are here. But great to see you, Ben. Love the talk. Next week we have David Murray from Blue Cross Blue Shield talking about Facebook advertising. So how a major healthcare company uses Facebook ads, which I think should be interesting. And so I don't know, let's give Ben one last round of applause. Ben David. Oh, you know what? I always forget to announce this. I made a mental note. We have some space available above Arbor Brewing Company, so any like solopreneurs looking for an office space, come talk to me. We have some desks for rent, or even a couple closed door offices. So if you're looking, talk to me because we're trying to get those leased. It's a real nice space right above Arbor Brewing in Washington. Thank God I remembered. It's been weeks. But anyways, so thank you, Ben. You guys go out, have a great week. Enjoy the auto show, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Good job. Thank you, guys.